Megyn Kelly delivers a brutal roast of the leftist Snow White feminist star Rachel Zegler after that film absolutely flops at the Disney box office. Guys, it is bad for the left right now, especially the feminists, okay, who I have a unique and special disdain for that I can get into another time. They're not doing well, all right? Woke is going away, you know. That doesn't mean it can't come back, though, so stay vigilant, guys. But for now, it is suffering, and that is a beautiful sight to see. So we're going to get right into it. It's going to be fun. But first, do me a huge favor here, guys. Like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you all this great, hard-hitting content. And as always, Patriots, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
The Rachel Zegler activity with this Snow White movie has been so insufferable and so narcissistic and so detached from reality. She's now bragging about the success of Snow White, which is a movie that's going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. And mainly because of her and because nobody wanted to support her, she did on camera say that members of Trump's movement and anyone who disagrees with her doesn't have to go show up and give her any more money. And I guess people followed suit. There are empty theaters all around the country. We are now at a 1 out of 10 on IMDb for the new Snow White. And it couldn't happen to a better person. What is the lesson to be learned here with this Snow White disaster?
Yeah, we had more dwarfs than we did viewers in most of these theaters. And as you know, there were no dwarfs other than some CGI weird generated version of them. It's the old, you know, it truly is go woke, go broke, but also don't alienate half of the country when you're putting out a product meant to appeal to all. It's the Michael Jordan Republicans buy sneakers too. And she didn't just come out. It would have been bad enough if she had just come out and said, please, please, please vote for Kamala Harris. Trump is dangerous. You know, that's not smart when you're headlining a film like this that's meant to have mass appeal. You know, Republicans have children too. That's not smart. But she went so much further than that, right? She said she hopes that neither Trump nor any of his supporters ever know peace. She told Trump and all of his supporters to F off. She was out there lecturing us on how we needed to vote for Kamala Harris or we could unfollow her. There's tape of her saying, for every one of the 18 hours I am in the Snow White dress, I expect to get paid. If it's 18 hours, I want 18 hours of pay. I'm sure she got underpaid as a Disney lead actress or as a Steven Spielberg lead actress in West Side Story. Boo who? People have real problems and no one gives a shit if she got paid for 17 instead of 18 on her multi-million-dollar salary, which is not calculated by the hour. So she just encapsulates everything that most of us cannot stand about modern day feminism and the left in general. And Hollywood, they hate the right. They hate Trump. It's not enough to dislike the candidate. You have to hate him and hate his supporters. This weird feminist thing where her heroine cannot be in love or be saved by a man, the prince, that she's more focused on becoming the leader she was meant to be, as if women in modern day America must make that choice. You cannot both be a leader as a female and fall in love and be rescued by a prince. Like, that's incongruous bullshit. That's only the left's version of what it means to be a strong woman or female empowerment.
A huge feminist Rachel Zegler presented herself as during this movie filming or you know, process of it. Indeed. Let's take a trip down memory lane. So this was back in 2023 that the 22-year-old Rachel Zegler also made clear that the new Snow White flick would not need a man or true love. Quote, it's no longer 1937 and we absolutely wrote a Snow White and she's not going to be saved by a prince and she's not going to be dreaming about true love, Zegler said. She'll be dreaming about becoming a leader and she knows she can be. Okay. And then here, she talks about how Prince Charming was stalking Snow White in the original trailer, blah, blah. Weird. Just, you can't stand these feminists, okay? They honestly hate the traditional human experience. They really do, because they have all this about, yeah, women don't need a man, they don't need this, they don't need to be mothers, they just, they need to be independent leaders. Like, just stop, just shut up, okay? You're why the birth rate is declining, all right? We have an underpopulation problem, not an overpopulation problem, and it's in no small part due to these feminists who discourage women from doing what is generally the right thing for most ladies, bar like, religious life or something else like that. Becoming a mother and having a family, a mother and a wife. Both very important things. Now, let's see how much they suffered as a result of what I believe was in large part Rachel Zegler's stupid leftist feminist comment. Snow White brought in $87 million in its opening weekending globally. All right, this is according to Forbes, with just $43 million domestically. Well, look at all these other examples of live action films from Disney. Lion King, 191 million. Beauty and the Beast, 174. Alice in Wonderland, 116 million. All right, it's more than double. It's ridiculous. Jungle Book, Little Mermaid, or you got Aladdin, Cinderella. It's terrible. The only thing that did worse was The Lion King. All right, this Lion King live action remake. I mean, I don't know anyone who saw that, so it's understandable why, but that's terrible. $43 million for arguably one of the most famous Disney movies in American history? That's really bad. And folks, there was a lot of chitter chatter about this among people who worked with the movie, all right? Well, not exactly the guy who worked, but the producer's son. He slammed her and said she hurt the film specifically because of her politics. Here's a quote by the son, all right, and a now deleted post. My dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with blah, 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 had to leave his family across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics in the middle of promoting a movie for which he signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid for and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. Awful. And you know what? It was really bad for her, all right? Disney actually was trying to get her to put a lid and stop talking. All right, we have an article about this. Resist the Mainstream covered, Disney to shield woke Rachel Zegler from media ahead of Snow White film release. You can look here. In an unusual move, Disney reduced the number of media outlets invited to the event. It's an event for the film. Opted to not invite the usual extensive press coverage. And then, of course, you got a Breitbart report about it right here. All right. They knew what was going on, and unfortunately, it was a little bit, or maybe fortunately, depending on your perspective, it was just a little bit too late for Disney. Now, back to Megyn Kelly.
So, I mean, this woman has clicked every box. And just for cherry on top at the end, she gave an interview last week talking about how they were basically a bunch of white supremacists on the set of West Side Story, where Steven Spielberg and co. were demanding that she prove how Latina she really is, since her name doesn't sound Latina. And she was angrily saying, did I have to bring in my little abuelita for you to believe that I was Latina? That's her thanks to Steven Spielberg, who discovered her and made her. So she's an ingrate, she's annoying, and I think she's probably two and done.
Do you think your career's over after this?
I do.
It's been poison. It's been so poisonous. And if she hadn't have opened her mouth, I think that this movie might have done well. They might have just been able to ride on the hopium of the movie and some well-cut trailers, and people would have paid to go see it, and then it would have fallen off when people knew it was garbage. But Rachel Zegler made it so hateable that you really sabotaged and took hundreds of millions of dollars from the studio. I don't know how anyone would ever want to go into business with her ever again.
I mean, do you know how hard it is to find an attractive young woman in Hollywood who can act and sing? It's not hard. Who just isn't going to offend half the country. There'll be 25,000 more just like her knocking on the same doors that she had opened to her. She had the opportunity of a lifetime. And instead of being humble and grateful, she was entitled and a snot. And I will look forward to her not getting cast in any more movies for a long time until she actually does learn something about humanity and humility.
Notice that Megyn Kelly said it's not hard to find a lady who is attractive. Is she suggesting that Rachel Zegler is maybe not quite as attractive as some people are saying she is or portraying her to be? I don't know. All right. That's something for Megyn Kelly to answer. But I will say there's a little bit of conspiracy theory I've developed here. You notice that Gal Gadot, who, you can make your arguments, but there's clearly an objective case of who's a little bit more attractive here. She's the villain in the movie, whereas Rachel Zegler is the heroine in the movie. Why is that? All right. I don't know. A little bit weird. All right. I'm not going to opine further before I get in trouble. But all I'm saying is I do think there is a covert feminist propaganda raging on our society, and it attacks us in so many ways, whether it's saying, women should be heroes and fighters and all this stuff instead of beautiful wives and mothers. You know, we have the whole plus size stuff. It's just, I don't know. Something's a little off there. So with all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. As always, please be sure to comment below, listen to what you liked about the clip, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future, and hit that subscribe button down below so we can make sure that we see you again soon. God bless.